Well, I'm not a jealous man, but I don't like being alone. Well, I'm not a jealous man, but I don't like being alone. And I don't know where you are, but it's time to come home. Hey!
Growing up in South Central South Dakota, we didn't really have the blues. Like, nobody was playing it. I've never seen a blues band when I was growing up. It wasn't on the radios. At this point in my life, at this age, I just want to play kind of the good stuff, the stuff I really like. For me, nothing is like the blues for me. And while it might not be as commercially viable as playing country music or classic rock, for me, it's just about finding good players to play with me, playing the blues, telling some stories, and trying to engage audiences. But I think people get confused with blues as the emotion, as a feeling, and blues as the music.
All the time.
So is the blues going away? Well, the blues can be looked at in a lot of different ways. It can be looked at as a feeling, or it can be looked at as the medicine to help you deal with those feelings.
So as a feeling or emotion, we all have the blues, whether it's lose the girl we want, or the girl's with somebody else, or we're overworked and we're underpaid, or so those are the blues.
I'm sitting here wondering, what can I do?
I don't see this world healing itself anytime soon. You know, we need medicine, and the best medicine for that is music from the heart.
And I think the genre, the purpose of the blues, the music, is on a Friday or Saturday night to help you forget about some of those negative things.
You keeping that red cherry wine every day, it's gonna wind up killing you.
The emotion of the music, it hit me right from the start.
You know, I think with the blues, it's one of those genres that there's always a great story in every song.
music that has passion, music that tells the story of the human condition with one note.
There's always a story, and I think that's why it keeps me coming back and continuing to explore that genre.
But it's being able to hear the do and be able to play the do, but then be able to go, whoa, hearing that. People connect to that, and those vibrations that you put out, they feel that, and that's healing. It really does heal people. It heals me.
There's always stories, right? These songs about the blues are either about lost love or drinking.
Yes, I'm taking you to the doctor. Maybe the doctor knows what's going on inside your head.
No, I don't think the blues are going away. I think we're in a period right now where in some ways people are rediscovering the reason to have the blues.
Even the grass on your grave will be cherry red.
Brian and I entered the Iowa Blues Challenge probably about 5 or 6 years ago. We took a stab at it. We really didn't know what we were doing. But this is a yearly competition. You can either enter the solo duo competition or the band. And the winner of the Iowa Blues Challenge represents the state of Iowa in the International Blues Challenge on Beale Street in Memphis, Tennessee.
And the first time I went down, I was probably too young. I wouldn't understand myself today.
But Brian and I did that 5, 6, 7 years ago, but we really got smoked. I think we got 5th place out of 6.
I was playing fast and I was playing fancy and tricky and stuff, and I wasn't appreciating the blues.
It's a tough road down there. There are people from all over the place who can play just as good as you or better.
And there were some outstanding blues players in the competition. We learned a good lesson.
I was disrespecting music. And I was going with older players than me, and I was lucky. You know, I went and they told me, hey man, it's really, you're impressing yourself great, but you're disrespecting the music.
Well, Des Moines has an incredibly supportive music community.
And so Brian and I, from that time, decided, hey, we want to fail forward. Like, we want to continue to learn on how to play the blues the right way.
So the first time that I went down, I didn't realize the real importance of it, because it is a heavy thing. It's an important thing. You're going and you're part of people that really love this music.
And so then a couple years later, we entered as a band. And at the Iowa Blues Challenge, we got 2nd place. So then the band was really hungry, and we could feel it. And then this last year, we entered as the duo, Brian and I, and we won it. So we're fortunate that we're going to be heading down to Memphis as Iowa's representative. And, you know, it's an International Blues Challenge, so there'll be talent from all over the world. And you know, we're just excited to get down there and show our stuff and play the blues.
Buckmiller, Schwager, just thrilled to be a part of this. I want to introduce my good buddy here. People ask me all the time, you know, what's the future of the blues look like? Because I think all of us, we want the same thing. Every one of us here tonight, that's to keep the blues alive. Help me out. Keep the blues. One more time for the people in the back. Keep the blues. Now, how are we going to do that? People ask me.
What keeping the blues alive really means is that letting people know where that music comes from and why it's important to celebrate the legacy of that music and why it was made.
If we're going to keep the blues alive, we've got to pay attention to the social, cultural, emotional experiences of the blues. That means paying attention to what happened in the past. It's so important. understand who sang it, why they sang it, where they sang it, and how they did it, right? So this is going to be our only tribute song in our attempt to kind of play some of the old stuff, and maybe with a little bit of a younger person's twist. We're going to do a tribute to a guy named Freddie King and Muddy Waters, if you ever heard of those guys. She shakes all over. When she walks, she makes a blind man see. She makes a dumb man talk. You've got to love her with the feeling. Love her with the feeling. Love her with the feeling, oh baby. Don't you love her at all?
So we're very respectful of history of the blues. So I always start with that in mind. But at the same time, if I'm going to cover a Muddy Waters song, nobody can do it better than Muddy Waters.
That was one of the things that I really liked about hanging with Buck, is that he's a student of the music too. He understands the history of it, which I think is really important, you know.
Why you coming here, baby, looking like $1 million bill?
So what we try to do is make it our own, right? So you haven't heard the Buckmiller Schwager version. The format and the form, chord progression, the style of lyrics are very similar, but you know, we're gonna make them a little bit modern. We're gonna do our own thing, and I think that's the challenge, is how do we push it so it's a little bit innovative, a little bit fresh and creative, at the same time still respectful to the genre.
Thrill of the thrill.
I read the books about the Delta and about the musicians, and I geek out about that stuff, and he does too, you know.
Learn the history and the roots of it, and which I know he's doing a lot on that, and I think he's a scholar.
But to me, it's a different thing. You know, I come from a different place and a different time and a different economic structure. I come from a different set of privileges. Probably the most important thing about this music is to help people understand that this music came and is so beautiful, and it came from a struggle of the African American people in this nation. And that's something that we can't forget.
You know, we're just trying to find ways to engage audiences so that audiences can make connections with what we're doing, what we're singing, how we're playing, and what we're doing. I'm a teacher by trade. My dad was a teacher.
Why you play the blues is so slow, and it brings you down. A lot of bars don't want to hear the blues. Are we bringing you down tonight? I hope we're not bringing you down.
Whether it's, if I'm standing in front of a classroom of students, adults, or college-age students, or I'm in front of an audience at a show, I'm trying to figure ways to engage the audience.
So here's what I'm going to do for you all tonight. My side gig, this is my, I get all my insurance money and my retirement money from playing the blues from the tip jar. My side gig is a professor at Drake University. Just the side gig on the side.
And one way we've found to help audiences who may not be as familiar with the different genres is to really talk about the blues. And so what we do in the show is, say, we give you little samples.
And I teach a blues class, and we talk about the different styles. So now I'm going to give you a free 1/4 of a credit, graduate credit little seminar here on the blues in the key of E.
Here's what the Chicago style blues sounds like. We give them a little sample, and I kind of explain how Eddie Taylor formed the guitar parts for that.
We play the Chicago style blues. It never fails. You see the head start bobbing and the feet start tapping. You know why? It's scientifically not proven, But that's the same. The bum, 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 bum. That's your heartbeat. That's your heartbeat. No wonder why it's so easy to get into that Chicago style, Eddie Taylor type shuffle.
Then we talk about the West Coast swing blues, and we play a little snippet of that.
So right here, like the swing shuffle, like you're jumping and jiving to it, right? You want to get down to it.
So they get a feel for that, so they can hear the differences. We'll hit the Texas blues, and so what's it? The lazy shuffle, just behind the beat. A little bit of Anson Funderburg or Jimmy Vaughan or Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That Texas shuffle, right? So we're almost done with the lecture. Anybody falling asleep?
And then we'll hit the John Lee Hooker blues, the one-chord boogie shuffle.
Yes, I'm talking Detroit. That's John Lee Hooker. You ever heard of John Lee Hooker? Here's that sound.
So we just want to help audiences understand there's a lot of different shades of the blues, and that's what makes the genre so interesting, that it's not just one style.
It's a nice thing about the blues is it doesn't really take much to learn how to physically do it.
And I think with the blues it's unique because there's a common language, a common vernacular of the 12-bar blues, the 1-4-5 pattern. That's the basic.
If I get up on stage and I say to my guys 12 bar in a certain key, 12 bar in E, they pretty much know what's going to happen.
It's called the boogie shuffle, right? And you got it like that. So look, the lecture is winding down for y'all. You can, if you go to Drake University on Monday morning, go to the registrar, say you heard this lecture, you can get 1/4 of a graduate credit. And then they might give you a doctorate degree. You never know. All we're trying to do is keep the blues alive by trying to help our crowds a little bit. Let's go back to that boogie shuffle. You want to hear a little boogie shuffle?
Yeah, I'm really fortunate that I found Brian Schwager. He's a really good business partner, a good bandmate, a good friend.
Brian really has worked extremely hard. He loves that instrument, and he needs it. He needs that. If he didn't have that instrument, he wouldn't be whole. He'd be a mess.
Ability to express myself musically, for some reason it just came naturally to me on a guitar.
Just a huge talent. People always wonder what the blues are going to look like, what's the next generation. And man, the blues are in good hands with Brian Schwager.
And he's really worked hard on his craft to sing through his instrument, not to play licks as much as really get a tone and play an emotion and a feeling of joy or of horror or sadness or love or lust or, the human experience through that instrument, through his hands on that tool. That's just a tool. Everything that you hear there, that's Brian Schwager. That's not that beautiful Les Paul that he's got, which is nice, and I covet that. But anyway.
I think one of the focal points of the blues, or one of the commonalities is the blues wherever you go, is that there's always an invitation to have other players on stage.
So the blues is so nice that way because you don't have to think about complex structures.
So with the bands we bring, we like playing the duo, but for us the band is a lot of fun because of the energy.
It gets really interesting, when you throw other musicians in and you play with dynamics, you play with trading back and forth on solos and just kind of building everything.
We could play the same song 10 nights in a row and it would be different every night because of kind of the improv, the room, the audience, all these things affect it.
You know, the fun thing is you get musicians on stage and it just pushes everybody. You know, it takes the whole thing to another level and everybody wants to play better, and that's, for me, that's what makes it really, really cool.
Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom.
You have a lot of responsibility, but it's so much fun that you don't really necessarily think about that. And that's not what's important anyway. What's important is to go with a sense of awe and adventure and try to find the other people that also have found a reason to play the blues. Because if you go there with that kind of attitude, like Buck has, like, I just want to learn. I don't know everything, but I want to be around people that know more than I do, that I can learn from, and that are just going to see that it's not about me, it's about the music and how I can serve the music.
Oh, how I love to see you smile. You are my pride and you are my joy. You're the star that always shines, and I'm so proud of you and who you are, and the dreams you dare to dream. I love your quirks, I love your soul, I love everything. And in life, when you fail and when you fall, I'll be there to help pick you up and make sense of it all.
With the blues, I think it's just important to play with your heart and soul. Our mentor, Bob Pace, says, you know, leave it up on stage, leave the blood up on stage. And so I think it doesn't matter if you're playing a ballad or a Texas shuffle or whatever. You got to put your heart and the soul. That's what the blues is about. Nobody plays the blues. At least the people I know don't play the blues for the money. But the people who play the blues have a love and a passion for keeping the blues alive, playing their own style of blues.
You can go down on a Thursday night, and sometimes that place will be packed with people that know about it, and other nights you go in there and there'll be 5 people, but those musicians play just as well because they need it too. You know, they found a reason to play the blues, you know, and because they have the blues.
And you've got to have a good shuffle. You've got to have a good rhythm section. Having a smoking hot guitar definitely helps. But, you know, that's when I take the stage. You never know if it's my last time I'm going to play. I just want to give it my all and have fun, smile, appreciate my bandmates on stage, and just play from the heart and soul.
So this is our COVID song. We wrote this when things were tough for our family. We had some things going on, family members. And I went to my good friend Sarah. I said, Sarah, things are a mess. She says, yeah, you're right. But we've got to find a blessing in the mess. Things are still messy, but there are some good things. And she said not every day is a good day, but there's a little bit of good in every day, no matter what. That's why I wrote this song, to remind myself as a father and as a husband and as a bandmate. Enjoy the moment. We're at the Greenwood tonight. We're playing the blues. We're having a good time. And we were playing this song at home. And my little 8-year-old daughter, Josephine, you love her. You met her. She said, the lyrics coming up and just say, in 10 years from now, when we look back. And Josie says, Papa, in 10 years, I'm going to be 18 years old. I said, you know what, Josie? I don't want to think about that right now. I want to enjoy you as an 8-year-old playing Lego. Let's enjoy today. You with me?
If you want love,
Got to give love,
if you want peace,
got to give peace,
if you want hope,
you gotta give hope,
if you want love.
gotta give love.
And when we look back 10 years from now, and when we look back 10 years from now, and when we look back 10 years from now, and when we look back 10 years from now, what did we live each day? What did we dance and play? Did we take care of each other now? Did we love the gift of here and now? These are the good days. These are the good days.
These are the good days. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. Thank you so much.